Hi, I'm Kep Kepner, CPA here in Dallas. I'm going to quote a few statistics for you today because there is a tremendous amount of complaining going on about Uncle Sam and the tax burden. And people just complain and complain like, oh, the income tax is killing them. But let's really see what happens. The top 1% of the individual filers paid 37.8% of the taxes last year. Think about that. Almost 40% of all the individual taxes that were collected came from the top 1% of the filers. What about the bottom 50%? I'm sure there are a lot of complainers in the bottom 50% of the tax filers. They paid 2.8% of all the individual taxes. So think about that. You have somebody complaining about their tax bill, and they're only paying 2% as a group. 200 million people that are tax filers, and they only paid 2%, 2.8% of all the taxes collected from individuals. Now, the highest 5% of the people in the United States paid 58.6%. Now think about that. Again, almost 60% of all the taxes were paid by people in the top 5% of the income earners. So when people are out there railing about raising the taxes on the rich, raising the taxes on the rich, the top 5% of all income earners are paying 60% of the taxes already. And they accounted for 34% of the adjusted gross income. So think about that. The top 10% of the filers had adjusted gross income of $127,000 and paid 68% of the tax burden, $127,000. So you're out there working, you're doing a great job, you got a little business, you're trying to make it grow, you make $150,000, and you think that your taxes are too high. And maybe they are, but it's not for the reason that you think. The reality is, remember that the lower 50% of all people only pay 2.8% of the taxes. So you are carrying a bigger burden. So it's really not the ultra rich or the rich, the top 5% that are paying too much. It's somewhere in the middle class. And if you think about it, $127,000, well, maybe that's a good living, maybe it's not, depending on your lifestyle. But I can tell you this, it's not enough money before or after tax if you buy a house that's too big for you. It's not enough, it's a burden on you if you go out and buy 2 or 3 new cars and are paying for them and never own them. And yes, it is a burden on you if you've got kids that you're trying to save for them to go to college. Then that's not very much money. But it's a lot of money to you, and you ought to manage it well instead of complaining about taxes. And I'm not saying you shouldn't complain. Feel free to complain all day long, but at the same time, do something smart with your money. Live on less than what you make. Invest the difference. Build wealth by growing a business or by investing. Don't spend everything you make. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you have wealth and you have enough. It's really interesting. Both of my kids' families earn more money than me. Now I'm older, obviously, but I have more than them. I didn't start out earning the kind of money they earned. So it's how you live that makes the big difference. And we can help you with that. Give us a call. Thanks.